Hello guys, welcome to our session. So we have seen in our last session that we have created one test case for login functionality where we validated some of the different sets of data by using the data provider. So like we have used the sets of data here and using our login functionality test case. But as we know that we can't use the hardcore data in our any test cases or in our any program, which is not good and good practice to use. So what we have to do, we always use the generic data. Generic data means what? The data which will not affect our without changing any code functionality or code steps. We can go to change in from different or third party tool like Excel sheet or JSON format or CSV format. So like that we can use the different sources to change the data in our code without touching any code lines. So how we can do it? So in our case, we can use the Excel sheet for fetching the data and giving to the particular test cases method. So for that, what we have to do? First of all, we have to import the or we have to store the dependencies of those Excel sheets. So we have to go back to our Maven repository and check for those dependencies. So we will use the Apache POI dependency. The first one is that we will use two of them. This one API common one, and second is that OOXML schemas. This one. So first of all, we will go for this, and mostly uses this 2.202.245. That is the 5.2.2. Just click here, copy, and back to our POM XML file and paste it here. Same thing for second one. This is the second one. Click here, 261 5.2.2. Click here, copy, back to our XML file and paste it here. You can delete this one, this line, and this line. And now, as usual, after adding any dependencies, just we have to go to our project name, right click on it, go to Maven and update project. Make sure it is selected and then click OK. See, download has been happened. Then just save it. Now after adding these dependencies, what we have to do, we have to import or we have to create one Excel utility file. So we can mention it in our utility class only, but as we are using the Excel files for most of the or different kind of methods, so that's why we will do one thing. We will create one different class of the Excel utility file, so that we can mention every steps whatever we want to fetch in that same one method only, one class only. So just create one method, a class in library package class, and we will give the name Excel utility. This will be the class, and here we have to create the methods to fetch the data from our Excel sheet. But I have already created one class method. For that, I will show you what exactly steps are there in coming videos. If you want, then I can explain the I will create one more whole Excel file for you, so that you can understand how we are fetching data here. I will just copy this whole methods steps and paste it here, and you can see number of red marks are there, compiling error. Just we have to hover our mouse there and just import them. So one by one we will import every file in our class. I will explain you what exactly one by these methods are doing, how they are working. and I guess the name of the class is different. Okay, so okay, one more thing I have to mention is this IOX exception throw is coming here. I have to just simply import that file also here, and for this also I have to import. This is just a external extra feature. I will explain it later, but for now I have on some of the important phase steps what exactly the accelerative class is doing right here. So these are the public global variable which I have created for each of the steps, like file input stream where I have to mention the path of that file, then file output stream where I have to mention where I have to create the file that file output stream will do. Then later I have to open the workbook, so with the file output, and then I have to create one sheet in that, and in that sheet I have to mention the row and cell column, and this is just one style format where I can mention the style color and formatting of that data. And this is the string path which will give the path of that particular file which we have to give to our Excel utility class. So how this work? So I have created one method with constructor which will accept the parameter of path in the string format. Which path? So as I have the Excel data.xlx file here, that I have to mention this path to this parameter here. Now what this method do? This give the this format div or this directive path of that particular file, and then this file will be used in each of the methods. Okay, so whenever we will call this method name in any other classes, that class will be introduced, that should be given by the string name only. Okay, path name in that parameter, and then this will work. So mentioning of our first method, that is the row count. So whenever you are fetching any data from any kind of Excel sheet, that time you have to mention how many rows are there and how many columns are there, and then only we can get the data of that particular Excel file. So before that we have to mention the row count. So how we can do it? So for that, here I have one method which is creating one input of that file by file input stream, and with that file input stream we will create one workbook, and in that workbook we have to mention that sheet name. So workbook dot create get sheet name, which sheet name will be there? The sheet which we have created in our Excel sheet, that name will be given here, and then from that we will find out the row count. So last row count will be the method which will give us the integer value of that row count, and then we will just simply close that file and return the row count to this method. So whenever we will call this method, it will return our row count name. Similarly for get cell count also we are doing same thing, but for cell count you must get the last row count first, and then only you can get the cell count. Okay, afterwards, so this both has been given, then we have to mention the cell data, get cell data, which happen what this method will do. This method will give the data of that particular cell you want to fetch from our any Excel sheet. So how we will mention it? So similarly this will create one file input stream which will create one workbook. In that workbook we will find out the get sheet method where we will get the sheet name, and then in that which row we want to find and which column we want to find, that will be given. And then afterwards we will use the data formatter, the class which will give you the formatted data. Means if you want to find the data in the string format or in the numerical format or any kind of boolean format, so this will be formatted and then this format will be used in the return type also. So this will be return type of that method, and then we can fetch this, we can call this method in our any different classes or different methods also. So I will show you what exactly we have mentioned here in our test case. So we are what we were doing before, we were just created one method name. Okay, we created one method of that data provider, and from this method we were fetching the data in our test class, test case method. Okay, and how we were fetching the data? So as we may said, we have created the sets of data with the three data, like first one is the scenario, second one is the username, and third one is the password. So in that way we have given the parameter also in the parenthesis of that class method, that is string scenario, string username, and string password. And here we mention those method name in the each of the scenarios. But now what we have to do, we have to use the generic method to solve this issue. Means not issue, just we have to use the generic method to fetch the data. So what we have to do, we have to create one more method in the Excel utility file, which will give us the return type of data in the object or 2D manner, means object in 2D manner. So because we are getting the data in this format, but we want to find it in the 2D manner. So for that what we will do, we will create one more method here. So the method name will be, I will create one method public void, but instead of void we want to fetch the data in the object format, object 2D format, 2D array, and 2D array I will give the name just for simplification, nothing much, and this will be the method. In that method what we have to find now, as you know, for any this method will accept the two input, that is first will be the in row count and second will be the cell count. So for that we have to fetch that numbers from the predefined methods which we have already called for in the back side. So int row count, or we can say row num, equal to get row count. Now this is accepting one method, one input of, I will go here, see this method is asking for one name, and that is the string sheet name. So sheet name we have to provide here. So from where we can provide? So we will do one thing, whenever we will call this method we have to give the sheet name also. So we will create one parameter here, string sheet, and this sheet will be given to this method sheet. Okay, why it is giving error? Set method to void, change to constant. Okay, I have to okay, I have not mentioned any return type till now, so I will return the net data. So int we have fetched the row count. Now similarly we have to find the cell count also, column count or cell count. I will say cell num equal to get cell count. Okay, and this will accept two parameters, first is sheet and second is row num. So here what one issue is there, we want to fetch the data in from different number of row, means it is asking the row number, no, but I have already created one Excel sheet. I will show you here. This is the Excel sheet. So here you can see first row is just naming of that each of the columns, like type, username, password. These are the name of that columns. Heading, we don't want to fetch this line, we want to fetch from this part. This part we want to fetch from here. So here this part will start from row number 1. As you know, any column and row will start from 0th position. Huh? So at this position, these are the heading name. We don't want to fetch from here, we want to fetch from this row. So this row will count as a 1. So I will go for the I will say I want to fetch the data from 1th position. Okay, so in this way we have created the cell count and row num also. Now I will create one object name, object, where I have to store this name also. Object, I will give the name of the object will be data, and this is the 2D array equal to new string data, because I have created all the string data only here, and this string will have the 2D array, and this will accept, we have to store this name here. So copy and paste, copy and paste. So what I have done here, I have created one data name, one object of 2D array, and here I have mentioned the string format of that array, which have integer value of row and integer value of column. So this number of data will be stored here. So what exactly I will show you that what you are happening, data of 2D array. Then as many data here, just in case I have created one set of data of 1 2 3 4. Just a minute. Okay, so here are the data of number, row is that 1 2 3 4, this is the column, and 1 2 3 4 5, this is the row. So there will be row is the 5, and and column is the 4, 1 2 3 4. So this will be 3, 0 1 2 3 4, and this will be 0 1 2 3 4 5. So this will be 5. So in this format, this will be created one data provider of that object of 2D array. Okay, now I have to fetch the data from one method which we have already mentioned here, get cell data, which will help us to get the data from the Excel sheet, which is accepting 3 parameters. First is the sheet name, which we already given from here. Second is the row name, and row number and column number, which we already have given here. So we will start from here. So how we will fit? So we have to create one loop, for loop. This for loop will be for integer I, which will give the for loop of count of for row. So I equal to 0, then this will be I is less than the row count will be there, so row num, and I is in the incremental manner. Okay, afterwards like this, see, this for loop will start, and this start from row 1 0, this one, row 0 and 1 2 3. Okay, but we want to start from this position, not this position. Okay, from this position we have to start. So what will be the first integer value of row? So first will be 0 1, so 1 will be the starting position, so we have to mention this here 1. Okay, then later second for loop for column, so int j. Now what will be the answer of this j, starting position of the j? So our first is this 0, this column is 0 1 2 3. So from 0 we have to start the column number, so 0 till where we have to go? Till column name number. So j is less than column, or no, cell number, no, cell num. Okay, and in incremental manner. And here we will mention the data from where we have to fetch it. So this data will be given here, data equal to, and from this method name will be get cell data, and this will accept three parameters. First parameter will be sheet, second will be row num, and third will be cell num. Now how we will mention the data here now? So here at the first position we have to mention the position of that data in the data format, data provider format. So what will be the position? 0th position it should be here, and here also 0 position will be there. But we can't mention like this, we have to mention in the I and j format. So I will be here, I -1. Why -1? Because here it is starting from 1 and we want to fetch from 0 position. So I means 1 minus 1 will be 0, and j is already 0, so that's why we will just mention the j. Now in this sheet, which sheet? This one, which we will mention as a input sheet, like that. Credential, login credential will be the name of the sheet. This sheet will open, and at in this place, in this sheet, at position row 0, 1 and 0 position, the here it is the I and it is will be j. So this I will be this one and j will be this one. So how it will work, I will show you. See, at data, as I am saying you that it should start from 0 position. So this is 0, this is 0, and this is 0. Okay, and then this will store data of sheet name, credential, login credential, sheet name, and I value. What is the I value at 1? I value at 1 is valid, so this will store valid, and j value is that 0. Then what will be the j value? J value is 0, that this is the 0 1, column name is 0, this one is 0. So this will store this one, then later column name will increase by 1, so 0 1, then this will be stored, then column name is number is 2, so this is 2, this one will be so call valid, then standard name, standard user, then secret cross source, and then the link of that particular expected result will be in link. I will show you. So this will be the position of the 0 position. Later on same thing will be happen for data. Now I is 1 and the j is again 0. Okay, now at the 1 and 0, what will be the position of this? At 1 this is the 0, invalid, and then 0 is the invalid. Now same thing, column number will increase, and data row number will be similarly to 2. So 2, I here first of all it was at the 1 position at the initial stage, and now it is on the I equal to 2. This is the 2 number, and this format will be stored. Similarly for third number this will be stored, and for fourth number this will be stored. In this way the data will be stored in this manner. Okay, now we have to return this data as a return type of this method. So what will be the return type? Return, we have to return this data. So just simply we will give the data and close it. Okay, we have mentioned the return type. Why it is giving error? I have to change the 2D array to 2D array, TWO 2D array. Okay, and this is will throw one exception. Okay, so this is the exception will throw. So in this way we have created the method which will give us the return in the data format of that particular Excel sheet. Now we have to check whether it is working or not. We will do one thing. We will create one main method in the same class to just check whether it is extracting the data from the particular Excel sheet or not. So I will create one object of that constructor Excel sheet equal to new, and this will accept the path. So from where we can get the path, we will just go to our Excel sheet file, and from properties we can copy the property of that particular address. In the double quoted comma we can paste that data. Then later we have to create one object also, object of data equal to new. Sorry, we are fetching from Excel sheet to Excel dot name of that method is that 2D array, and this will accept the sheet name. So what is our sheet name? Login credentials. So sheet name will be login credentials. Am I correct? Right. Credentials. Okay. Credentials. Give the. This will throw one exception. Then later I will create one for loop to fetch the data from our Excel sheet. So for loop will be int I equal to 0, I is less than data at position, data at position I dot length, and I in incremental manner. Similarly for column j equal to int j equal to 0, j. Okay, I have to just mention this, not from here. I have to just mention here from j is less than data I dot length, and in incremental manner, and this I will print it in our console. So in console what will be printed? This will be printed. Copy and paste. So I will be here and j will be here. Okay, so in this way we have created one fetching data format. We will just run the main method and we will check whether it is fetching the data from our Excel sheet or not. So you can see we are fetching the data from our Excel sheet like that. And as we mentioned, we are starting from this position. This will be the first position and this will be the last position of the class. So valid is the first position, valid, and last is the epic sad user face. Okay, one more is there, null in this position also. This is accepting. I guess I have given some of the data in the previous session, I guess. So here we can successfully extract the data from our Excel sheet now. So what will be the next step? Just I will comment down this. Now what we have to do, we have to call this method 2D array in our utility class with the help of one method. So we will just create one method and we will give the annotation to that method is data provider. So public static, because we are going to call this method in the different classes. So public static, then the return type will be object, and then name of that method will be get data, Okay, now we have to call the, or we have to create the object of this utility class, excel utility class. So excel utility class equal to same name we will give, equal to new excel utility class, and this will accept the path name. So we will give the path name like this: system dot get property. In this property, in this parameter parenthesis, we will give user dot dir, means directory, plus then once again double quoted comma and actual path. So actual folder is that in user, this is the folder test data, and the class file name is test data.xlsx. So test data, TEST double again we will give the forward slash, and the name of the file is test data.xlsx. Okay, in this way we have created the excel utility object. Now we have to return the object here. So we will create one object method, object variable, with the name of data equal to, we will store the data from that excel dot 2d array. Okay, and we will mention the sheet name here, which sheet we want to fetch it. So sheet name was the login credentials. Okay, and now we will return this data as a return type to this method. This will throw one exception, just we will mention it here. So this is the data provider. So we have to mention the annotation here, data provider, and then we will give the name to this data provider equal to credentials. Okay, so we have created one data provider in our utility class. Now we will just call this data provider in our test class here. So as we say you that we have mentioned this, we have to just comment down this now, because we are not using this route. We will call this data provider credentials, but before this, in this way we were calling the data provider from the same class, means this the name of the data provider was in the same class, but right now the name of this credentials is in the utility class. So how we will do? So here in the same parenthesis, what we will do, we will call one method, data provider class. This is the class. Then here we have to mention the name of the class. So our name of the class is that utility class, and then at the end dot class. So in this way, what will be happen when this test will be run, it will go to this provider, data provider, and search for go to this class, data provider class, and then search for this name, and then it will fetch the data from that place. Now we have to do some of the changes in our existing code of this test case. So what are the changes? So as I mentioned you that I have already created one table, and in this last column there are the number of results we have to get from after we have inputting the username and password. So in this method, some of the hardcode data is this one. So what we will do, just we will create one more parameter here in the parenthesis of that method name, like string result. Okay, now this result will be given to the each of the expected result. So result, same thing we will go for other also, result, and also here result. Okay, and now one more thing is that we are fetching this also from config file, but here what we will do, we will fetch the data from our Excel sheet only, and then we can also change the name of this value also to result, because we already mentioned this link here. This link will be as a result to this method. Okay, now we have created the data provider for this method. So just we will run one method and we will see whether it is working or not. So now it will open the browser and give the details to the username and password text fields. So finally we have created past this. Okay, run 6 test and failure one. Which one it is? What is the okay, null? I guess I have to mention some of the details here. It is accepting the detail from this line also. I have to mention some of the details here, but apart from that, we have successfully passed the other result like valid, standard, secret sauce, blank, 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 like that. We have already done it. Okay, okay, one more thing I have to show you, that if our test case get failed, then how does that screenshot works. As we created one screenshot method also in the utility class here. How this work, this will accept one parameter of test case id, and then it will give the name as a failed test case and the id name of that test case in the jpg format, and this will be stored in our local repository of that failed test case id, a test case screenshot folder. This will be stored here when our test case will fail. And for that we have created one after method here. If result is or result of that method will be failure, at that time this utility class will work. Okay, so here I will do one thing. I will purposely fail one test case from this invalid username abcd secret, and I will mention the name of result will be just pick. Okay, I have changed this name. Now I will rerun the test case, and you can see how the test case will work. Now it should fail that id, and it should get the screenshot of that failed test case. So here you can see that our failed test case is invalid. Okay, the so what I have done here, I have created one global variable of the int test case id, and then I call it in each of the test case methods, test methods, and similarly I mentioned in the each scenario also. So here what we have done, we have changed the scenario of this invalid username, and the name of that test case id is 6. Now this should be come here in this format. Just we will refresh it. Now you can see in the failed test case, see failed test case 6 number, this 6 number will be shown. We'll just open it in the system editor. Now you can see, as you mentioned, we have mentioned the so for invalid one, this is abcd123 is a username, see 123, and then password is secret sauce. It is correct password, and it should show that pick sad face. This is the result, but it is showing epic 6. So in this way we can store the failed test cases also. I will just change it to the epic one. Okay, so this is the way we can fetch the data from our Excel sheet I will mention the Excel utility code here, this pre-made code to you also, and you can use it in your project. Then later on you can use these methods to find out the data from the Excel sheet. So I hope you understand. So we will do one, yeah, we will fetch the data, and then in this next lecture or next video we will do one thing. We will create the extend reporting by using the extend reports methods. Okay, till then have a good day. Thanks.